Facilities District, City of Goodyear, Arizona, May 21st, 2012. You are all in the capacity of board members. And so we're going to start out with under A, Community Facilities District, City of Goodyear. We'll be addressing 1, Community Facilities General District Number 1. Number 2, Palm Valley Community Facilities District Number 3. 3, Community Facilities Utility District Number 1. 4, Wildflower Ranch Community Facility General District Number 1. Wildflower Ranch Community Facilities General District Number 2. 6, Cottonflower Community Facilities District. 7, Estrella Mountain Ranch Community Facility Districts. 8, King Ranch Community Facilities District. 9, Centerra Community Facilities District. And 10, Corontina, a Community Facilities District. I've already raised the gavel. I've called us to order, and I look from side to side, and we're all here this evening. There are no expenditures to ratify. There are no communications. Do we have any citizens who want to appear?
No.
All right, so that takes care of that. So we have one item. Just a second here, get myself here.
Consent.
Consent, yes. One item on, where, do we do the CFDs before we do this? I'm sorry.
Just you just need a motion and a second to approve the draft minutes of the joint CFD special meeting held on July 11th, 2011.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
I heard a motion from
Board Member
Board
Gelser.
Member Gelser and a second by Board Member Campbell. All in favor say aye. Oh, roll call?
That's fine.
No, we'll do a roll call. Let's do
All
it
right.
right. It's a roll call,
Board Member
please.
Gelser.
Aye.
Board Member Stipp.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Osborne.
Aye.
Board Member Pizzillo.
Aye.
Board Member Loretano.
Aye.
Board Member Campbell.
Aye.
Chairman Lord.
Aye.
Passes 7-0.
Okay. Now Sheila, sorry about that little delay. Sheila Mills will present the information concerning the 2011-12 tentative budget for all 10 CFDs. Each resolution will be voted on together. We've decided not to do it separately. Last time we voted on all of them together, so tonight we will vote on all 1 to 10 after the presentation. Is that acceptable? Yes. All right, sounds good. Sheila, you have the floor.
Good evening, Chairwoman Lord and board members. Again, my name is Sheila Mills, and I'm the Community Facilities District Administrator. I thank you for the opportunity to present the tentative budgets for fiscal year 2013 for the 10 community facilities districts. I have just a couple housekeeping things. In your presentations that you received on Friday, there was a couple of pages I made some minor changes to, and when we come to those pages, I will actually bring them to your attention. They were slight changes, but minimal, but you need to know. All 10 tentative budgets include operations and maintenance. They are the general fund. The debt service budgets are in all of them except the King Ranch Community Facilities District. And the O&M budgets are the general fund. They are all approximately the same as this fiscal year 2012. The budget for the debt service includes approximately 1 month or 1/12 of the annual debt service, including that. So it has 12 months plus 1 additional month. That's what's in the budget. The Estrella Mountain Ranch Community Facilities District is the only one that has a capital improvement budget. The developer may request financing. However, at this time, we don't have anything to bring before the board, and there would be necessary action to be taken before we could even do a bond financing. Property taxes are based upon the information we received from Maricopa County Assessor, and that information was given to us in February. Those are not the final numbers, but that is what they had provided to us. The final numbers will be ratified by them in August. The next 3 slides, I at least put in a map so you can at least see where the community facilities districts are. You have one that I provided to you guys, and it contains all of the districts. But this here broke it down so they can kind of see that there's several districts and where they're generally located. These are the ones that are north of the freeway, the Community Facilities General District Number 1, Palm Valley Community Facilities District Number 3, and the Community Facilities Utilities District Number 1. This one is kind of the ones to the west of us, slightly west and a little bit south. There are several of those. I won't name those, but that's the majority of those. And these are the two that are to our south, and they are the Estrella Mountain Ranch and the King Ranch CFDs.
Sheila,
Yes, sir.
on the map, go back to the Australia one, the south one. There are areas of development that are noted as exceptions. Could you enlighten us why some areas are exceptions and some areas are not?
Chairwoman Lord and Board Member Gilzer, when they formed that particular district, there was some properties that were already there and had built on or were owned by other property owners. So when they formed that district, those particular properties were excluded. So they could be in the Estrella community, but they're not in the Estrella Mountain Ranch Community Facilities District.
Okay, thank you very much.
This in here, we show the property tax levy that we have currently for fiscal year 2011, 2012, and what we project for 2012, 2013. You can see that the Community Facilities General District Number 1, Palm Valley Community Facilities District Number 3, the Community Facilities Utilities District Number 1, and also Estrella Mountain Ranch Community Facilities District. In your other detail that you had received, we also have a standby contribution agreement with the developer. So those levies are not showing the amount that would cover the general obligation bond debt service requirements for the year. Since we had cash available and we had used it in fiscal year 2012, you'll notice that there is a slight increase in some of the property tax levies for some of the districts. So that's basically where you get that. It's not that we had any additional bond sales. We just had used the available cash, and it's not there anymore. Also, the Utilities District and Estrella Mountain Ranch, you'll notice that the levy went down, but there again, that's two of the ones that have the standby contribution agreement, and that developer is going to make the additional payment, which we've already received for the debt service for the general obligation bond debt. This slide, it'll show you what we have, what is the actual property tax rate for 2011-12, what we project for the property tax rates for 2013. In your notes, you had Palm Valley as $1.70. However, the rate is actually $1.80 is what we're projecting. It was $1.70 what we're projecting for the debt service and 10 cents for operations and maintenance, and I only picked up the $1.70. So that was a correction there that I wanted to bring to your attention. You'll also notice that we have 4 that I have highlighted, 3 that was in fiscal year 2012 that went over the target rate, and then we have 4 that are actually going to be over the target rate for this fiscal year 2013.
Yes, Bill.
Sheila, you know, we're going to spend some time later this month, or actually probably in June, talking about tax rate. We really don't have a lot of control over this rate. Can you explain how this?
Yes, Chairwoman Lord and Board Member Stepp. Basically, we have debt service. Most of it is the debt service that takes up the property tax rate. What we do for most of them, we'll set a levy because we know how much we need for the debt service. And then when the county gets our information, they take that information and they go ahead and calculate the rate based upon what their final assessed valuations are. So we don't have any control in that because we still have a legal right or legal debt that we have to pay to our bondholders who have purchased those bonds. The general fund, at maximum on any of the districts, and it was all voted upon when they were formed, that it is 30 cents. Some of those we do not have at 30 cents. We are actually increasing the general district up to a full 10 cents. The Palm Valley is at 10 cents. Community Facilities Utilities District Number 1 is 25 cents, and the rest of them are all at 30 cents for operations and maintenance. So the majority of it is going for the debt service, and that's general obligation bond debt.
And we can't do anything to alter that as far as make it less. We can't increase it to do something else in the city. This is exclusive for these, and I want kind of to make that perfectly clear.
The only way that you would probably be able to reduce it at all is if you would be able to refund some of the bonds and get a lower interest rate. And that either, if you do that, you could have a longer length of time, or you would try and get a shorter, the same time frame on some of the bonding requirement, what is currently out there. But most of the GO bonds are all sold for 25 years.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Jill. Oh,
Yes,
I'm sorry.
there-
Board Member Osborne.
Okay, Sheila. Something about this that's bothered me. I know that this is something that people will see on their property tax bill, correct? But this is actually a financial tool or mechanism that was used to help build these properties, correct, or these developments.
Yes.
Would you call where I think there's confusion that bothers me is when the word tax is used on this. So I just wanted to make sure for the newer people that this really isn't a tax. Am I correct in saying that? Because even myself, I go back and forth about what this is actually called. Because this really isn't something that we generate as a city. This is something for that development that has occurred. Correct?
Well, Chairwoman Lord and Vice Chairman Osborne, what happens is when we sold the bonds, the general obligation bonds, we said that we were going to levy a property tax to make the debt service on that payment. What happened is we financed, and what we did is we had the developer finance and put in public infrastructure for that particular community. So if the city sold the bond, everybody in the community would have to pay that tax for that public infrastructure that was put in. But when the CFD sells the bonds, then only that area is going to pay for that public infrastructure that actually benefited those people that are going to be moving into that area. So it is a tax because you have to tax to collect for the debt service, and we also collect for the operations and maintenance. But basically, all the bonds have been sold only for public infrastructure, which the city receives.
Okay. Well, it's just, you know what, back and forth. I will call it a tax, and then I'll say, well, no, that doesn't seem like a tax. It seems more like a financial tool. And
It
so
is a
it's
financial
very-
mechanism.
Yes.
It's just a different way of financing. Like I said, if the city sold the bond, the city, everybody in the city would pay for it.
True.
But rather than doing that, you're only having the people that buy properties in that particular district pay for that public infrastructure.
And if this wasn't, if these CFDs were not even came into play years and years and years ago when many of these came into play, then some of those developments probably wouldn't have occurred. Would you?
That could be the case, or the developer would have had to put the infrastructure in anyhow, and they might have increased the prices of the homes to cover that.
But then it wouldn't. Then it would have been. Well, never mind. I won't say my philosophy on that. Thank you.
Yes. Board Member Pizzillo.
I think, Sheila, you hit it on the head. It was either increase the price of the homes or keep the price down through a tax through the CFD for improvements made. So pay me now, pay me later. That's what it pretty much boiled down to, doesn't it?
Yes.
But at least at that point, the homeowner would have said, "This is the actual price for my house," rather than it kind of be behind the scenes later in a tax. So I'll call it a tax now.
May I answer or give you a comment on that? Basically, when the first homeowner of the property bought the property, they actually signed a CFD disclosure. So they actually knew that there was a special taxing district. And in most cases, it was property tax only, but in some cases, we've also sold assessment bonds. So they were disclosed that as well.
Okay.
Board Member Loretano.
Just to clarify, and on these developments, when the bonds are paid, these sunset, correct?
That, Chairwoman Lord and Board Member Loretano, we've had two since 1989. They were the Community Facilities General District Number 1 and also the Community Facilities Utilities District Number 1. Now, I believe that there is probably a procedure that you would have to go through to have them go away. But if there's no more bonds, you're not going to have the debt service. But if you still are operating the district, you probably will still have an operations and maintenance portion of it.
But it would be then lower.
Correct.
Okay.
And the maximum on that is it was by voter, and it was 30 cents.
And
for
the
each
ones that,
$100 of
and
assessed valuation.
just to clarify, so people, because we started talking tax, the ones, there's several that the development are paying, and the residents, like in those areas, will not see those on their property tax statement. Is that correct?
Excuse me?
You said the developer makes the contribution.
They actually, in the Stray Mountain Ranch Community Facilities District and the 3 north of the freeway that have a standby contribution agreement, they are getting a benefit correct right now because they're not paying the full extent of what those GO bonds outstanding debt service is annually. So they're getting that benefit for that developer making the difference for that rate that we set. In those cases, we're setting a rate rather than a levy.
But what she asked was if they shows up on the customer's bill, if
No.
that's what you were asking.
Yeah, so in Estrella Mountain Ranch, because the rate is the 1.3 and the 1.3, that wouldn't show up on the bill.
No.
Okay.
You'll see it you'll see that we have debt service, but they're not going to see that in their bill. That is correct. Sorry.
Any other questions?
This here slide shows you what we received as the assessed valuation for each of the districts. And then we have a comparison to tax year 2011, what the actual assessed valuation was. So you can see what the changes, they've all gone down. The one that had the smallest decrease was Estrella Mountain Ranch. But there again, you had the biggest increase of King Ranch, but that is mostly vacant land. And then you also have 2010, 2009, and 2008, the actual assessed valuation. So you can see over the years, the assessed valuation has dropped. On this one here, this is another one I had a minor change, and that was due to that $1.70 that I had used in the Palm Valley CFD on your guys' presentations that you received last week. So the amount changed on this one. It went from $285 up to the $302.76. So, and then the percentage also changed. It was 22.9%, and that increased to the 30.1%. So you can see a change in the percentages again I brought that forward for the assessed valuation. And then here, what I used is the median value that was received by, we got that from Maricopa County Assessor on residential properties. So basically I used the median value, and they have two different median values for the city of Goodyear. You have the ones that are in the zip code of 85338. They're the ones all south of I-10. And then you have the ones at 85395, and those are the 3 districts that are north of the I-10, and those are the first 3 districts. The only problem is because they're a median, that doesn't give us necessarily a true picture. That's why you're also going to be seeing that the percentage at the end, what the amount of property tax that they're paying, increased more than what decreased, and that was because we're using median values. For instance, in the 3 north of the freeway, they said the median value only decreased by 8.34%, where you can see that the closest one is the utilities district, but the Palm Valley one and the general district decreased by a larger amount. So that's a little anomaly there, and it makes it look like a higher percentage. Those properties, because I use those median values, they may look different. Also, you have to take into consideration the extra cash that we had used this year, and it's not available for next year.
Excuse me, Chairman.
Yes. Board Member Gelser.
You talked about extra cash that we had in each account. Could you enlighten us how that occurred and how we worked that down? And and in this year's projections, will each of these districts have some kind of reserve or a balance at the end of the fiscal year?
Chairwoman Lord and Board Member Gelser, we do have a slight balance in the general fund, but it's minimal what we bring it down to, and also in the debt service fund. But the debt service fund, there again, I said that we're also levying for 13 months rather than 12 months. And the other thing is we also levy that we're only going to collect at 95% collection ratio. So we always levy a little bit more because we think that we're only going to get 95%. So the additional cash was part of that. And in some districts, in Palm Valley CFD number 3 and also in the Centera CFD, we had looked at doing a bond sale a few years ago, and we had those funds, so we weren't giving them the full benefit, but we were actually weaning it down. But with the decrease in the assessed valuation, we had to increase because we've expended all those funds.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
So these are the budgets that we have for each of the districts. There again, you can see the Estrella Mountain Ranch is the only one that has the capital improvement projects budget. And the O&M is actually operations and maintenance, and it's for general fund. The debt service, every one of them is for general obligation bond debt except for Estrella Mountain Ranch. That one there also has assessment bonds. We've sold 4 assessment bonds out in Estrella Mountain Ranch, and those people in those areas have to pay for that, so we collect that either semi-annually or some of them have it added onto their property tax bill. Also, because I have a budget in the CIP, I've also increased the debt service just in case we would ever sell that bond. But there again, everything would need to come back to you guys at a meeting, and there would be necessary approval before we could ever sell that bond.
Chairman, question?
Board Member
Sheila,
Gelser.
several years ago, on this special assessment in Estrella Mountain Ranch, there was some concern that certain property owners were falling behind, or this was a surprise to them. And you presented, some facts and figures on how you've gone about trying to ensure all the collections and things of that nature. Have we had, and you also talked about working with a 95% collection ratio. Are those numbers, is the collections coming in at that, or are some of the districts, the collections even higher than 95%, and we're just budgeting conservatively? Is that what's going on? And have we had problems in this Estrella Mountain Ranch area that, we had some earlier and several years ago? I'm sorry.
Chairwoman Lord and Board Member Gilzer, basically the assessment bonds, we collect those separately. They are not anything to do with the 95% collection ratio. That is only on the property tax portion for the general obligation bond debt. We have done considerable efforts to try and get the collections on the assessment bonds in better shape. We've made phone calls. We've done other things, outreaching, trying to get them to make payments. We've also used the phone tree and added on to the phone tree that the City Utilities Department uses to contact the property owners, letting them know that there's a payment coming due. We also have to put legal notice in the newspaper when those payments are also due. So we've done really well. We may have had, I think the last time for the December, we only had maybe a handful, up maybe at the most 10 that we might have sent to the district attorney's
Excellent.
office to try and go ahead and
That's
start
really
the
good.
foreclosure
That's
process.
really
I remember when
got
it
it
was in 3 figures, there was hundreds.
We've done exceptionally well.
But you've done exceptionally well, too. As I remember, you did a lot of phone calling and a lot
Correct.
of nurturing.
And we still do.
Yeah.
We
Well,
still try and go every way we can to get it. Sometimes the mortgage companies make those
and
payments.
we appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so they've considerably come down.
Great. Thank you very much.
I think they're set. Go ahead.
That's the end of my presentation. If you have any other questions, I will entertain them at
Any
this
other
time.
questions? Do I need you to read these over again, or can we just
I
vote?
have to read each of the resolutions.
Okay, would you
yes.
please
Yes.
read them for me?
A, adopt resolution CFGD number 1, resolution 12-158, approving the tentative budget by the Goodyear Community Facilities General District number 1 Board for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2012 and ending June 30, 2013. Item B, adopt resolution PVCFD number 3, resolution 12-032, approving the tentative budget by the Palm Valley Community Facilities District number 3 Board for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2012 and ending June 30, 2013. Item C, adopt resolution CFUD number 1, resolution 12-081, approving the tentative budget by the Goodyear Community Facilities Utilities District number 1 Board for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2012 and ending June 30, 2013. Item D, adopt resolution WFRC-FGD number 1, resolution 12-048, approving the tentative budget by the Wildflower Ranch Community Facilities General District number 1 board for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2012 and ending June 30, 2013. Item E, adopt resolution WFRC-FGD number 2, resolution 12-043, approving the tentative budget by the Wildflower Ranch Community Facilities General District number 2 board for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2012 and ending June 30, 2013. Item F, adopt resolution CTTN-FLWRC-FD, resolution 12-041, approving the tentative budget by the Cotton Flower Community Facilities District Board for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2012 and ending June 30, 2013. Item G, adopt resolution EMR-CFD resolution 12-079, approving the tentative budget by the Estrella Mountain Ranch Community Facilities District Board for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2012 and ending June 30, 2013. Item H, adopt resolution KRCFD resolution 12-018, approving the tentative budget by the King Ranch Community Facilities District Board for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2012 and ending June 30, 2013. Item I, adopt resolution Centera CFD resolution 12-041, approving the tentative budget by the Centera Community Facilities District Board for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2012 and ending June 30, 2013. Item J, adopt resolution Cortina CFD resolution 12-036, approving the tentative budget by the Cortina Community Facilities District Board for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2012 and ending June 30, 2013.
Thank you very much. Could I hear a motion to adopt items A through K?
So moved.
By the city clerk.
So moved.
I heard a motion by Board Member Stiff. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I hear a second by Board Member Pizzillo. Roll call, please.
Board Member Pizzillo,
Aye.
Board Member Loretano,
Aye.
Board Member Campbell,
Aye.
Board Member Gelzer,
Aye.
Board Member Stipp,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Osborne,
Aye.
Chairman Lord.
Aye.
All 10 resolutions pass 7-0.
Thank you, Sheila, for a very nice presentation. Now, the board members, any board member have a report? City manager, do you have a report?
No.
Any inquiries of the staff? With that, the meeting is adjourned, and we will go right into our, oh, excuse me, I'm seeing, Gary, you're going, did I do something here? I
No,
feel like
well-
you didn't do something.
On our, I think our business on the appointments of the Youth Commission, I think they may not be here till 6.
No, Parrish said they were going to be here at 5:30.
Oh, okay.
Clerk, that they're in-house or we're waiting?
I don't know if they're here now, but I did check with Parrish before I came over, and he told me that they were all going to be here at 5:30.
Well, how do you want to handle this? They're not
Well, we
here.
have a presentation and several other things to do